Good morning, everyone. Excited to be here. Now, you've heard why DC is the best place to start and grow a business. Now you'll get to hear directly from small business owners and why they chose to have a business here and how it's thriving. So I will start. Welcome, everyone. As DC business owners, each of you has built a unique enterprise that contributes to the vibrancy of our city's economy. Please introduce yourselves very briefly first for our audience. Let's set the stage and tell us about your business, your services, what sets you apart. So we'll start right here.
Good morning. Yusuf, Henriques, founder and CEO of IndyGeneUS Bio. We're a life science biotech company within the DC area that's looking to increase more women and minorities in clinical trials so that we could build better biomedicines for global distribution. My background, former military, so I've been in and out DC for the last 20 years. I've actually been stationed here. And I chose DC because of the vibrancy of the health tech community. Also, the FDA, NIH that I've worked at is also here, and a large presence of Department of Defense, which I get preference on government contracting, both local DC government preference as well. And over the last 4 years, this is my second company. I built one in Montgomery County before my affiliation with Howard University brought me back to Washington, DC.
Great. Okay. Simone?
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Simone Williams. I am the founder and managing partner of Williams Global Law. It's a full-service immigration law firm that is designed to help global businesses and foreign entrepreneurs to launch here and do business in the United States, particularly DC, of course. Our offices are in DC as well, and a little bit of background. So our firm has been in existence for 10 years. Prior to that, I worked at a general counsel to a company that raised over $60 million from foreign investors. And before that was at Baker McKenzie, a law firm, an international law firm that had an office here in DC. So you could understand that DC is a really ideal place to be. You're at the seat of government. It's a prestigious address. Everyone is here. All the embassies are here. And so my clients, anytime they're looking to kind of expand their operations, they always want to have a presence in Washington, D.C. because of that cachet and everything here, the universities, everything else that we're talking about today. So I'm happy to be here and obviously answer any questions.
Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Mariana Roig, and I'm the co-founder of Roig Communications. We are a multicultural communications agency, literally a couple blocks from here. We're on Connecticut Avenue. We've been 10 years in the market. We're a small business CBE. I'm a very proud DC resident, so incredibly happy to be here, ensuring to inform and share my experience with all of you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ramón Cala. I'm one of the managing partners for the Calpro group. We've been in existence for almost 30 years now. I've been very blessed. I'm originally from New York City. So this is, I guess I'm an immigrant or a migrant to Washington, D.C., but we love Washington, D.C. We're ambassadors of Washington, D.C. Our company, we started off as a special events management firm where we produced and serviced conferences, conventions, trade shows, any type of special event that you had here in D.C. My background is hotel and restaurant management. I went from hotels to the convention center to producing my own events, and we do events all over the country where we also are ambassadors of Washington, D.C., where we promote Washington, D.C. and speak well of Washington, D.C. A lot of the services that we provide are management services. We provide staffing, we provide security, we have a speakers bureau, and we do a lot of management. We do a lot of production here in Washington, D.C. at the convention center, as well as many of the special events venues here in Washington, D.C. A lot of history, a lot of love for Washington, D.C. I am originally from New York, so I still love my Knicks. I still love my Yankees. I love my New York City pizza and bagels and knishes and pretzels. But our heart is here in D.C., where we were afforded to raise our families here and continue a great opportunity here in D.C., where we employ almost 80% of people that work for us are DC-based. And we're very proud to say that we're working with a lot of different agencies here in DC where we provide opportunities for second chance and returning citizens as well. But I'm available to answer any questions, and like I said, my passion is here in DC. My brother, Socrates, he's my partner in our company. He's not here because he's flying in from Chicago from another conference that we do around the country. But yet, we love Washington, and we love to speak about Washington, D.C. So thank you all for being here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ramon. And I hope you've adopted some of our DC sports teams now that you've
Absolutely.
been here.
I love them.
We're a sports capital.
I've
Yeah.
got 3 children who are nothing but DC fans, and so am I. I love DC sports as well.
Good. Well, we know DC is a dynamic city with a mix of government, tourism, and a growing private sector, really making it a unique place to launch and sustain your business. And of course, join the DC Chamber. Same shameless plug there. But please share, each of you, your personal story about why you chose DC as a home for your business, just a little bit more specific. And was it, maybe you could speak about the market opportunities, a community, or something else. And what factors really kept you committed to growing your business over time?
Yeah, I'll start. As I mentioned before, I worked in the military, so I built a blood test for PTSD with my first company in the healthcare life science space in Montgomery County, which made sense. My second company really sparked out of an MIT hackathon with health disparities around COVID. As you know, Black and brown communities were really ravaged by COVID because the underlying health disparities wasn't really COVID. It was the underlying conditions that, lack of access. And of course, DC being a populace of, a vibrant populace of multinational people, we started to see some of that play out in DC around the health disparities and, diabetes and healthcare issues. So it was very intentional for me to look for communities that were suffering from, health disparities that could be reversed. And so DC, of course, being home of where I went to Howard University as a biochemistry major. Unfortunately, when I came out of undergrad, did not have the resource that now is available here at Penn West. And so I had to go to the biotech corridor, which was in Rockville, Maryland. And so over the last few years, I've seen the input from the mayor's office and the life science area, health tech, become a little bit more prominent in DC. And so that also drove the reason why I decided to build IndyGeneUS in DC, based in DC. And as of December, I'm also a resident of DC. Great. So I'm all in because I do believe that DC, because of what you saw presented earlier with the different universities, research and development, a lot of the solutions that will need to be created will need to be from environments and communities that look a little bit more diverse than currently what the drug discovery and drug development is, which is about 90 to 95% of all participants are European white males. And so as we move into precision medicine, there's a real need and critical need to have more women and diverse patients within the drug discovery R&D so that we could do what we're calling AI drug discovery and personalized medicine. So that's the reason why DC was home base.
Great, thank you. Simone?
All right, so I have a really interesting story, a very unique story, and I could relate to everyone in this room. So I'm an immigrant myself, and I basically went through every life cycle of visa. So I came here, as we talked about, all the university. I went to Howard University Law School, and I grew up in Toronto, Canada. So I'm an immigrant, and then I ended up getting a job at the law firm in DC and had the experience there. And then, of course, being connected and being able to network with, agencies and government heads and all of the dynamic opportunities that you get here. The embassies are here. There's always a delegation here. World Bank is here. I mean, you name it. That's why all of the law firms are in the DC area, the corridor, the K Street corridor. So I was able, I gained a lot of experience in DC, of course, being working in DC, working at a law firm, working at a company, and then started my own law firm. And of course, our law firm has been going on for 10 years, thanks to a lot in part be connected in the DC area. And I'm also the chair of the international committee of the DC Chamber. And again, the connections that you make through the DC Chamber. And the international committee actually has a membership where if you're an international-based business, you can join the membership. So you'll still get connected to the members of the chamber and all of the, the dynamic partners and industries that are part of the chamber. So, I mean, I really feel for my clients, whether they're students, whether they're companies, because I've worked at firms, I've worked at companies, I'm an entrepreneur myself, so I could connect to the client and connect to you coming to DC. Thank you, sorry.
That's great.
No, that was great. Thank you. Since we're going a little bit back, it's interesting. Actually, my first internship ever when I was in college, I went to UMD undergrad in Georgetown for grad school, was at the mayor's office on Latino affairs. This is literally when language access laws are trying to implement. I'm, originally from Bolivia. I'm an immigrant too. I moved here though very young. So when it came to communications and multicultural communications, as I advanced in life, in my professional career, most of the agencies, I work for the IDB, Inter-American Development Bank, I work at the NIH, on the Cancer Institute, I work at multicultural agencies, everything was based in DC. So my professional career really started in DC. So when it came the time to open my business, and I have my sister and partner in here, we decided to open it in DC. There's a couple things that I think I value the most about DC and how to open your business here. First is that the local government is incredibly hands-on on new businesses. And also, they're incredibly hands-on on promoting small businesses and the opportunity that they give you in multiple aspects, So I think for us, when it came to, getting the certifications, getting the approvals, immersing ourselves in the networking business, it was really, they opened the doors for us in multiple levels. We became partners of the Chambers of Commerce for the Greater Washington Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, the DC Chamber of Commerce, and then the networking opportunities in DC are very unique as well. So multicultural communications in DC, it's really like nowhere else in the surroundings, but it also offers you the opportunity of being next to Maryland and being next to Virginia, markets that are incredibly big and rich for growth for business opportunities. So I think DC has a very unique value proposition when it comes to, making that decision. Why here? Why are we here now? And as a multicultural immigrant, and we focus on multicultural communications, there was nothing like DC.
Great, thank you. Ramón.
Excellent. I'm going to try and give the abbreviated version too. But I came out here in 1988. I left school for a year, left college for a year to do a training program with the Hyatt Corporation, and I chose DC as my selection. And while I was here, not only did I get a wonderful experience, but I met the most beautiful woman in my life. So it's on tape, so make sure that it's and we celebrate 34 years on Sunday.
Ooh, happy anniversary.
Anyway, I'm excited about that. And we have 3 wonderful children. But anyway, I started off as a salesperson and food and beverage in the Hyatt, and I decided to do something different. So I went over to the old convention center. I know a lot of you, if you're here from DC, you know where that was. Back in 1990, I started there as operations and event manager, and I decided to go into sales. And to move up, you have to move out. So I decided to leave, and I worked for the Puerto Rico Convention Bureau. Yes, I sold Puerto Rico, but yet I was still here in D.C., so I still loved D.C. back then. And after about 2 years, I started to realize that a lot of my clients from the old convention center, who I assisted with planning their events, were asking me to come back and work with them and travel with them and help them here in D.C. And I decided, why work for someone else when I can work for myself? I can make my own decisions. At that time, I started to pick up different contracts, and I asked my wife if it's okay if I can go out on my own and start my own business. And she said, as long as you have some contracts to start off, that's good. But anyway, I started off on my own there, and I helped produce events, and I helped service the events. And little by little, more services were required or asked of me for my clients. So I added entertainment, where I had 40 different bands, and I had DJs and anything you can imagine. I added staffing, where we provided servers and bartenders and porters and setup and all types. I added a speakers bureau. I had 10 friends that I knew in the industry, and I added them to the list. We did security services, and then I knew a number of different managers all over the country, and I put them on the management team as well. So I started a whole firm, and from there things blossomed. Now I'm a product of 9/11, and we survived that. I'm a product of COVID, and we survived that as well. When we started, when COVID hit us, we had to pivot. Everybody knows that word, pivot. We had to do something totally different. So our comfort zone was no longer there. We had to do sanitizing. We had to do cleaning. We had to do different things. So we picked up contracts after we received our CBE. At the same time, we picked up things at the convention center. We are probably the only franchise owner of Ben's Chili Bowl. Anyone here familiar with Ben's Chili Bowl? If you're not, go to 12th Avenue here in DC and try a half smoke and a hamburger or some chili. Anyway, they've afforded us an opportunity to be franchise owners at the convention center. We're getting ready to open up a Starbucks at the convention center. We do the co-check. We do a lot of different services that were not the meeting planning services that I first started off with. So the comfort zone was released, and now we're doing different things. And again, we're very proud to say that we employ a lot of people here in DC. We need people every day. We've got, again, 80% are from Washington, DC. So that just means that we are true to Washington, DC. DC has afforded me and my family and my brother's family an incredible opportunity to raise a good family, raise them in a good place. We loved New York City. That was a wonderful upbringing, but my home is Washington, DC, and we're very happy to be here.
Great, thank you. Now, we know starting a business can come with its own set of challenges, but also opportunities. So reflecting on your journey, what is the one lesson or one piece of knowledge you wish you had when you first began your business?
I think for me is as I hear members talk about the CBE, was never really familiar with it when I started my business, and so I'm now going through the process of being able to go after local, because I came from a federal government background, and so going to events at Greater Washington Black Chambers and also attending other events, I'm starting to learn a little bit more on the local process, because again, with all of the hospitals here, that's a unique opportunity to take advantage of the certification that allows DC businesses to do more business with local enterprises. So that's been an area that was new to me, coming from a federal government and getting my service disabled veteran status and hub zone. Those things I knew, but tapping into the local, network and going to events have now opened my eyes to the local opportunities, which is quite great given the amount of hospitals. You see the universities there. Mm-hmm. Most of them have hospitals. And so the work that I do could then potentially land government contracts, which would put me in an advantage being a veteran and a CBE company in DC.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
So I'm going to just talk from my client's perspective as an attorney. And I know I don't want to do a shameless plug, but obviously it's very important that you have the right legal counsel, just to make sure that you have somebody who understands what your needs are and what you're looking to do and advises you correctly. Because the worst thing you could do is set up your business and do things and it's not right and waste time and you have issues. So making sure, and also knowing your options and what types of immigration visas you need, or what are the options out there. Like, you need somebody who has a breadth of knowledge and is able to advise you accordingly. So like in the United States, you definitely needed the right attorney and the right legal counsel. You can't go anywhere without it. It's a highly regulatory environment. So yes, the right legal counsel.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, 100%, I agree. I learned that very quickly. Legal counsel and accounting, it's a mess when you're opening your business. But, coming from another angle, I think that sometimes as business leaders that we're coming to a new market, we don't know where to find resources. I think immersing yourself into the business leadership in DC, it's very important. It often opens you new markets at a national, even international level. But it really makes you knowledgeable of all the resources that are there, and there are multiples. There are business expos happening all the time. You need to get yourself acquainted with the community leaders in here. And there's something that DC has, I think, that it's very unique. Business leaders really help other business leaders. And I think that it's something that we say, we're very small, we're a district, and it's a very small community, but a very multicultural, multi-layer, and supportive community. And I think that would be my advice.
Great, Ramón.
Excellent. I'm going to piggyback off my fellow panelist, Yusuf. Before the COVID, we did not know about the CDE and those other opportunities afforded to us. As soon as we did our due diligence and got the CDE and the other certifications, many doors opened for us. We were doing well with our meeting planning and our special events, and most of our clients, we dealt with over 50 different associations here in DC. You know, DC is the association capital of the world, and those were our clients. And we provided all types of services. We did full production for them, or we just provided staff, or we just provided security. But as soon as we received these certifications, a lot of wonderful things happened. And I think that had I known about that when I first started the company, a lot more would have been happening. So I thank my brother Socrates, because he's the one with all the energy. Me, I'll be 60 in January. So I've slowed down a little bit. So he's the one that's the energized bunny. And he keeps it going. He keeps it innovative. I think having a partner, and I want to applaud you and your sister, because we got into this conversation, but having a partner in this industry and in this whole world is a wonderful thing, and having a brother or a family member that you get along with is even better. We're friends sometimes, we're brother and partner all the time. But I believe that receiving those certifications has afforded us a lot more opportunities. And again, had I known back then, it would have been a lot easier, but right now it came at the right time and the right place, and things are going well right now. So we appreciate it.
I can attest to Socrates' energy. Yes, he is on 100. Yeah, and you all have talked about the vibrancy of DC's business community. It's known for diversity, collaboration, and access to unique resources. The proximity to Capitol Hill, the White House. You heard that in the earlier presentations. So, drawing from your experience, what benefits do you see from being part of this dynamic business community? We'll start with Yusuf.
I mean, again, I think, I've watched it grown since I was here as a young college student. And so, especially in my sector, it's been a growing process in life science. There's always health IT and health tech, but really start to look at, I think DC has a unique opportunity to be one of the leaders as we move into AI and biotechnology, because it's not part of the old antiquated system. We have an opportunity here to be innovative. And we no longer have these large, big manufacturing facilities that you see in the old movies with the smokestack. A lot of things are now being innovative, and I think DC, with the ability of and the academic institutions and the innovation and the R&D, will be a leader given the diverse population that it has around diverse data set and big data. As mentioned before, Virginia is right across the way where most of the data centers are, which is why Amazon picked Virginia, given the fact that they consume a lot of data and energy. And so as I start to look 5 years out, we're going to see a unique opportunity for more entrepreneurs to be here, because data is the new oil. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm here, is to leverage and be one of the first movers in the space, because the more data, more diverse data you aggregate and build your solutions on across all sectors, but especially healthcare, will drive the future of precision medicine for decades.
Excellent. Thank you. Simone.
I think the network here is, bar none, one of the best in terms of, you're here with the seat of power, decision makers, policy makers. Everyone is here. Even leaders, of course, from all over the world come to Washington, D.C. So you have this amazing network, and in terms of being able to be close to Capitol Hill and all of the other that understand what's going on, that mechanism. And then you have amazing business organizations and associations, just like the DC Chamber of Commerce and other organizations like that. You get to meet the right people, to grow, to network. DC, again, is a networking town. So you could just go into any restaurant and you might see, the Secretary of State or somebody. I literally had that happen to me. So it's kind of, that's the type of city that it is. It's very vibrant and very well connected. And when you're here, you are also perceived to be very well connected, prestigious, close to the seat of power. So that's a good reason.
Good. Thank you, Mariana.
In my experience, has been definitely market expansion, the organic market expansion that DC offers you. So, for example, our business started focusing on local business, private sector, local government support. We work a lot in health and in education. And so forth. But, for example, we had multiple experience. One of them, for example, working with SAP Ariba from Virginia that looked into us to do research market for marketing for Latin America. So these are unique qualifications that the regional atmosphere in DC would offer you, for example, right? And it's contracts that come for us to work at an international level. So this organic market expansion, it's very unique to DC, and it's part of the conversation of every day. So I think that it's something that you just don't find anywhere really in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. It's kind of cool batting fourth, on baseball. It says clean up. Because I get a lot of good information from you all here. But to me, it's important to networking. It's important to be part of different organizations. We are members of everything. We participate in all of the events. You ask us for sponsorship, we are there. You ask us to provide services, whether it's zero budget or you have a budget, we're there. You need my van to transport anything. It's yours. We're part of this organization. We're part of this community. I think it's important to give back. Again, 35 years I've been here now. We're members and we're board members. We're board members of the DC Chamber. We're board members of a number of different organizations. David Diaz with the Greater Washington Hispanic, he's here as well. He was here earlier. We're members of that organization. I started over 35 years becoming members, and now we're board members of a lot of these people because of our reputation, because of our respect, because of our love, because of our admiration. We give, and we want to receive more from Washington, D.C., but I do believe that being members of all these different organizations has assisted us, has afforded us a lot of wonderful opportunities here in the community. Basically, that's it, yeah.
Okay. And just to piggyback off that, we have a couple minutes left. So one final question, and this time we'll start with you, Ramón. All right. As we're wrapping up Select USA, where DC is trying to attract and continues to attract global businesses. So based on your experience as a DC business owner, what advice can you share with our audience here on building connections, understanding the market, leveraging local resources to ensure their success? And how should they just plug into the DC business ecosystem?
That's a great question because the mayor's office, Office of Latino Affairs, Greater Washington Hispanic Chambers, they have had what they call business pilgrimages to different countries. I've been part of Spain. I went to Israel. I went to El Salvador. I went to Rome. And my brother and I want to also mention that my sister, who's my brother's wife, has also been a part of this organization. And they've been to many other countries where they went as diplomats or ambassadors of Washington, D.C. to sell D.C. to other countries. We have meeting planners that come here to Washington, D.C., and they need our services. So we go out there and introduce ourselves to them too. So that's a wonderful networking opportunity. That's a great what would we say an opportunity to introduce Washington D.C. to a lot of different countries. You as the immigrants or you as coming into this country here, it'll be a great opportunity for you to learn more about Washington D.C. because there's great opportunities for you as well. That's
Okay. Mariana?
Well, yes, network, I agree with you big time. I also think that when we think about being community leaders and being business leaders, we should think about serving the community and understanding the community very well. Due to time constraints, I only served in 3 boards. But for example, I'm incredibly proud. I serve for the NCCF board, the National Center for Children's and Family. I'm the only Latina ever until this year in 100 years of organization that ever had seated at the board of directors. So I try to make sure that I'm representing also my community, that I'm very welcome also to be part of the conversation and how to support the Hispanic community, not only in Maryland and DC and at a national level. So I think that being a business leader is also being a community leader and ensuring that we have that engagement with the community, that presence, that volunteer path. It's really important to ensure that not we're only represented, but that we understand who we're serving at the end of the day.
Thank you. Simone?
Yeah, so I would just to piggyback off of everyone, but basically the chambers of commerce are very key organizations to join, really, because you get access to the network, you get access to the business leaders, you have access to everyone. So, and there's so many chambers. Obviously, we have one in DC, and they also have an international business arm as well that you don't have to actually be in DC yet, but you could join. But it's the network, and right away you have, over 1,000 people that you meet and you network with. So joining these organizations, there's so many in Washington, D.C., so choosing the one that's right for you in terms of your industry and for a general business perspective, I think that's a really good way to start.
Great. And finally, Yusuf.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think everybody kind of stated, how important these Chamber of Commerce have been influential in their business. I think the other area that's been very beneficial since our company is looking to be global is taking advantage of the embassies. So I was able to get connected to the South African embassy, which landed me Nelson Mandela grandson on my board. I've been able to use the embassies and the Greater Washington Black Chamber to get in front of leaders in Nigeria, which I have a call right after this to negotiate a lab there. And so, being that DC has all that connectivity, most of the embassies are here. You could take advantage of, again, the chamber, but also the embassies that allow you to then do that if you're looking to expand the other way, right? So a lot of people are looking to do business here, but it's also if you're looking to do business in another country, DC also helps you to then look at other countries, not just the U.S.
Thank you so much. Let's give a round of applause to our amazing panelists.